Awesome.
Got it.
I have the opportunity, the pleasure of having Sharon Smith, Mr. 200 meters to go, on the podcast.
Yes, sir. Long time coming, man.
Yes. So I just wanted to give some people some background before we jump into it. So Sharon, I've known Sharon for maybe 5, 6 years. No, maybe longer. No, probably around that time. But um, I was a writer while he was a director for Methods to Winning. Some of the accolades for Sharon, he has. You know what? I tried to look up how long you've been racing, but
You can't find it?
no, road results only goes back 10 years. But
Ah,
you were P12 10 years ago, so I knew you had to start before then.
yeah. It's 17 years this year.
17 years? That's
Yeah. Yeah, it's been
five
it's
years old.
almost 2 decades, brother. Right.
That's why you're so good.
Right. I guess so. I'm not gonna toot my own horn, man, because I get a lot of flack already for that.
Okay, and then Sharon is also 17 years racing. He's been the California state champ. Is it 5 times?
6.
6 times now. And
Yes.
was this your first national championship win?
It was my first win. I have several podiums. I think I got 2 second place, a third place, maybe a fifth place. So I've been on the box several times, but this is my first time standing on the top step.
It's a long time coming. That's good. That's good. And then, okay, so I know how I started. I called you Mr. 200 meters to go. I just
Yes.
want to bring back that, when we first started seeing you, you actually had bar made.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Who made that? Zevlin made that. They're no longer doing that. That was some nice bar tape too,
It was
actually.
good. And I remember you gave a bunch to Brandon, and then you gave some to my brother Ama, and Ama gave you,
Yeah.
and he wore it the whole year. I think that, and there's a
He raced the U23 or Junior Perry Roubaix with that bar
Roubaix
tape.
with the bar tape. Yes,
That's legendary.
that was so funny. That was super cool. But yeah, so I just wanted to have you on. You're kind of like a mentor, not just in cycling but in life. I really look up to you, Sharon, and I feel like you're a good example for a lot of people. So um, you're also a brand ambassador for some big brands. So well, let's jump into it. I think that a lot of people want to know, they see pictures of you on the podium winning. They see the crazy videos of you bridging these gaps that, a normal person probably couldn't do. But how do you balance all of that? The training, the work, racing, sponsors, and outside of that, I know that you spend a lot of time at church. So,
Hmm.
kind of juggling a lot of balls. Um, how do you do it?
I think it's just remaining focused on what you're trying to, your end goal, right? You always got to look at the end goal and what is it going to take to get there. So a lot of it is staying focused. My life can be a little hectic sometimes with work, training, and as you said, dealing with my church staff as well, and dealing with brand sponsorship deals that I'm working with as well. So I think I'm very good at time management. I think when you get an email or you get a question or you get something you need to tackle, I'm a believer in let's attack it right now as opposed to waiting. I think when you have all these things on your plate and you wait and you're like, oh, I'm gonna get back to it, and then another thing come on your plate, then it ends up getting missed. So I think just attacking the task right away as opposed to waiting. So that's how I kind of balance it and block out some of the things that don't matter. That's just going to be distractions. So try to limit the distractions and focus on your end goal. Right? Cycling is a time-based sport. The more time you put into it, the more results you're going to get in return. It's almost like putting money in a bank or investing in stocks or bonds. the wiser investor is going to see a greater return. So I guess I've been making some wise investments when it comes to my training, and then trying to replicate my training to race day. I always tell people race day for me is it's like showtime, right? It's like it's time to perform. So a lot of times I'm at the race, I'm kind of happy, I'm kind of smiling, I'm super loose. That's only because I know I did the work in training. So it allows me to just be relaxed and calm. And then, hey, whatever comes at the end of the race, just deal with it. Know you put in an honest effort. You can't win them all. I've lost way more races than I won. So, and I accept that. I'm a believer, not a believer, but when I race and I have a bad race, immediately after the race it is over, I transition away from it, because there's no sense in me dwelling, and you take it into your new week, and then it carries into your training, and it just begins to snowball. So try to eliminate the bad, focus on the good, and keep pushing forward.
No, that makes, so you said that you block out time. Do you, and sometimes like I struggle with this, but do you say no to a lot of things, or do you find yourself saying no to things to like prioritize?
Yes, if it's not going to help me achieve what I'm trying to achieve,
Yeah.
I don't do it. Like for nationals, I mean, I'm not going to jump too far ahead, because I know we're gonna probably talk about nationals. I became very focused on leading in the nationals. Maybe 3-4 weeks out, I got like super focused and disciplined. So yes, you got to say no. Most successful people, they say no to a lot of things that aren't a part of their end goal, and it's not necessarily personal, or that they don't want to hang out with you, or they don't have time for you. It's just that at the end of the day, when it's time to put in the work, that person's not going to be there for you to be with you to do the work. It's going to be on you, right? And you don't want to look back on that day or that moment like, man, I shouldn't have hung out those 2 or 3 nights, or I shouldn't have drunk all that wine, or ate all that sweet food, or whatever it may be. So yeah, I'm a believer in saying no.
Yeah. No, I like that. What's so I know that a little earlier you talked about goals. Like you have goals and you do things in order to achieve them. Do you ever write them down, or do you just like in your head like, hey, this is kind of what I'm looking forward to. This is where I want to succeed, or like what does your process look like for that?
um Sometimes it depends on what it is, right? It may be something like, I want to strengthen my team at my church, my video department team that I work with, right?
Mm.
How could I achieve that goal if there's a little chaos, or things aren't necessarily in order? Um, I would probably plan some events, some team bonding things. For racing, for example, I'm gonna stick to the cycling theme, because that's what the audience is
Yeah, for
mostly
sure.
who's going to watch this.
Yeah.
Um, like if I have a race that's a big race, I would probably, I'm always typically fit. I'll never let myself just get out of shape, right?
Mm.
So I'm in the type of shape where if I have a race coming up in 3 weeks or 4 weeks, that's pretty big to me. Um, I can get really fit in about 3 to 4 weeks for it, and feel like I can compete with the top guys in the country in my age bracket that are working and have family life and work life as well. So it just depends. Like we lost a lot of races. Like when we're doing San Dimas stage race, a lot early on in that race, I used to get dropped. I used to didn't make it to the crit because I couldn't finish the road race. My fitness and my body type was just I wasn't built for it. And the funny thing, what helped me get over that hump was there used to be this site called Cycling Illustrated some years ago, and they would allow racers to write a blog regarding their success after an event.
Mm, that's cool.
And so, yeah, so one of my competitors, who's now happened to be my teammate, Mike Easter, he had won the overall, and he had broke down like how he prepared for the event and what led to his success. And he said in the blog that he had built out an 8-week block, and he built up 8 weeks, and then I think he tapered the last 2 weeks. And so I was doing 6 weeks, and then I was tapering a week. So after
Mm.
I was doing the math, I said, man, he was up 3 weeks on me. And so sometime when you working and you training and you racing, sometimes your our blocks need to be bigger than the pro block. Because typically pros, I believe, do like these 6 week blocks. But within their 6 week block, they're not working a 9 to 5. So
Mm.
their recovery time um is it could be shorter than a guy who works, because you got to calculate for working as well. So I began doing the 8 or 10 week block,
Okay.
and then I believe I tapered the last 2 or 3 weeks, and I started finding success at San Dimas.
Nice.
Because some of my motivation was that, man, I'm a crit guy, and I'm not finishing an event before the crit, so I never got to perform at my specialty, right? So
Mm.
I said, man, I can't continue to do myself a disservice. I just began to suffer in the hills and do the work after work. Um, and it led to my success. I have 1 week. I mean, well, not 1 week. 1 year, I ended up winning the road race at San Dimas, and I was like, man, I freaking won the road. I was a guy who went from couldn't finish the road race, now winning the road race, and I think I won the green jersey back to back years. I won it 3 times, but that's just a testament of the work. People didn't see my failures; they saw the success. It's like, man, Charon's winning green jerseys. He's finishing top 5 at San Dimas Road Race. What's going on? But there was 5, 6 years of failure before the success came, and it was just the stick to itness, determined, wanting it. So
No, and you know what? So I love that you said that. There's this, stick to itness, there's a grit, there's a progression, because I think it's so easy for people to like see where really great people are now. Like, oh, Sharon's such a consistent racer. He's always winning, always up the front. But, you've been doing this for a long time. Like, whenever you start something new, you shouldn't expect to be like great at it.
mm-hmm.
So
Yes, yes.
and I mean, you've probably seen people like come into cycling and they like have these crazy high expectations, but then you're like, no, this is my thing.
Right, right. I've seen a lot of turnover in cycling because it's such a baby step sport. Your growth comes. Sometimes it takes years before your growth and development happens. And so some people are used to quick results. In cycling, I've said this before, cycling is not a quick result sport. So if you expecting it to come overnight, you're probably gonna end up leaving the sport. And I've seen a lot of people leave the sport, just for that reason, because they're not used to getting their face punched in, right? But what kept me going was like, man, I just never felt like this guy was that much better than me. And so I began asking myself, what makes him so much different than me? Is he mentally tougher than you? And my answer was like, no. Okay, well, keep doing the work. Let's see if he's not mentally tougher than you. But you learn so many small little nuances of the sport when you're going through your suffer phasing.
Mm.
Some of your strength and weaknesses, things you need to work on,
Yep.
things that you may be good at naturally versus another competitor. So I mean, like, right now I'm doing things for I tell people I'm not necessarily racing for myself anymore. I'm a proven winner. I believe I can win, and I'm not saying that in an arrogant and cocky way, but the numbers are the numbers and the results are the results. So now I'm trying to do more stuff like legacy based. Like, what am I going to leave behind? I mean, you can
Mm.
win a ton of races, but what did you leave behind? Did you pull up the next generation? Did you inspire the next generation? Did you show some other people the way? So that's where I'm at. Like, guys like yourself, your brother, some other young guys across the country. If I could touch their lives, those are the people who I'm really, really attracted to. Older people I want to help as well, but hell, older people has more of a sense of where they want to go, or I hope they do at this point in life. So
Yeah.
my goal is to touch the younger generation. I think I have a strong attraction and for the younger generation. Um, so yeah, that's what I'm doing. The funny thing is that I was not going to go to nationals this year. I was like over it. I only was going
Whoa.
because my teammate wanted to go. He said, "Man, let's go. I'm a race for you." I said, "All right, cool, I'll go." And he ended up not being able to go. So, and then I end up winning. So I was like, "Man, okay, I guess I got to
No.
keep racing now. I've won nationals."
You can't
So
just
it's
hang
like
it up
these,
now.
yeah, these things in life just keep happening. And so I guess that's, I mean, it's signs that I need to keep going. So, um, so yeah, that's where I'm at now, man. It's like just how many blessings can I create for myself and other people around me, and we all rise up together at the end of the day.
Yeah. No, and so I was on the Methods to Winning team when you were directing it. So you kind of gave
Yes,
my brother and I a place to go for a couple of years, right after juniors happened. So I was super
yes.
appreciative of that. I loved kicking it and hanging out and racing with you. We were in a few races together. So
Right, right,
that
right,
was
right. As a
fun.
matter of fact, the first pro race, I think I got on the podium. And people kind of gave you a little flack for it. I think you were in the race. You guys didn't. I got on a podium, or maybe your brother was there
Okay.
and he didn't get on the podium. Maybe you wasn't there that weekend. And
But
he
you
was like,
did
"Man, Sharon used those young kids so he could get the result." I was like, "No, man, that wasn't the case. It just worked out that I end up
that way.
being the highest place finisher for the team that weekend."
Yeah.
So, but that's what it's about, man. It's a lot of work, trying to deal with the youth and show them a way because they got a lot of things going on inside their head and all these ideas and ambitions that they're trying to create and achieve. So it's more just trying to support at the end of the day.
Mhm. And so, something that I really wanted to touch on because you know what, I think you do such a good job of doing this, and I wish that I had a little bit more of this in me. And I feel like I almost pretty good, but how you interact with brands and their kind of affinity towards you. And honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, Sharon, like yes, you've been writing for a long time, but you've also like stayed with the same brands for a long time. And
Yes.
in your job, you've like worked your job for a long time. You just like doing things for a long time.
Yes. Yes. Well, I guess I'm a guy like if it's not broke,
Yeah.
why try to fix it or why try to reinvent the wheel? But in cycling, there's always high turnover with sponsors and athletes, and I never understood that. I think my first goal is to build a relationship, right? I think you build a relationship with the people within the organization, and then you guys can grow and become even something even bigger at the end of the day because it's not necessarily them trying to get you to push their brand and you trying to get product from them.
Mhm.
I want to really get to know you as a person. What do you like? What do you dislike? What do you enjoy? And all of these little things that I'm really attracted to when it comes to people, as opposed to let me see how many sets of wheels I can get from you, how many bibs I can get from you, how many glasses and helmets. And I never wanted to be the guy like every year, every 2 years, 3 years, I'm promoting another brand.
Yeah.
It don't become believable. Like,
Yeah.
man, yeah, this is the greatest shoes I had. This is the greatest. Like, man, how many greatest wheels have you had? I mean, I want to say that this wheel or this bib or this helmet or these gloves or these socks are the greatest because I really feel that they
It's
are.
true.
I don't want to.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to sell a product on my page or promote a product that I don't believe in. So I try to really promote items that I really believe in and that I really enjoy wearing.
Mm. Yeah. Do you have any advice for people
Excuse
that
me.
maybe don't have that?
Say that one more time.
Do you have any advice for people that maybe don't have that connection or but are maybe trying to find that or find a good person or sponsor so that they can work with them for a long time?
Yeah, but the funny thing is that these companies and these brands, they know that you're out there if
Yeah.
you're tagging them and you're posting their product, right? Once I got in bed with Specialized, I began meeting several people that worked inside the headquarters, and they would tell me like, man, they actually talk about you in the meetings as being one of the guys who wasn't supported by Specialized directly, but they saw that you were repping the brand and you were promoting it in a positive light because you believed in it. And so I was like, man, really? So they know that you're on the radar if you're doing it enough. Now, if you're doing it once every blue moon, you're not going to you're not going to get on the radar. So, but I wasn't doing it to try to get in bed with any company. I was doing it because this was a product that I enjoy using.
Yes.
And so I was like, hey, maybe it may work for you too. Maybe you may find some success behind it.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was going to lead to X, Y, and Z because I never did it in order to get money or to get product. It was always passion based and something that I really believed in. And I don't think there's enough passion in some of the things that happen in cycling. And so that's when you begin to see the downturn in crit racing. The numbers are drastically down. Why are they drastically down? People aren't enjoying it. Promoters are out to get your money. They're not doing it necessarily for the love of the sport. And it shows with the number drop off. If people feel your passion, they will want to rock with you in a strong way. So I think we just need more passion-based things in cycling to create this really great change that is possible.
Yeah. No, I think that's such good advice, and people need to hear that. Okay, so you know, I know that you had a good season. I feel like Nashville is definitely like, you know, the pinnacle of it. Do you want to give us I know some people that I talk to, they really love like a good like race report. You want to do like a little play-by-play?
Okay, I'm gonna try. That was like 4 weeks ago,
I
but
know.
I'll try to give as much as I can.
Yeah.
Um, the race was pretty wide open. You know, it wasn't a super difficult course. About 6, 7 turns, but it was somewhat on a fairground course. But the biggest challenge of the course was that elevation. It's set at what I think Albuquerque sits at like 5,200
Okay.
feet, and coming from SoCal sea level, we feel that in our lungs, and many other people who come from maybe flat places. Um, so, like I said, I was not going to go to nationals. I began preparing maybe 4 or 5 weeks prior to, once my teammate Mike Easter said he wanted to go. And so I said, man, Mike Easter, one of the top guys in the country. He's a previous national champ who I finished second to before. So I was like, man, I would have one of the top guys on my side in the field. So why not go? And so I began doing some prep work for nationals. The backstory is that I'm a rewind a little bit.
Yeah.
Coming into this season, I won my first race of the year, and after that, I pretty much had like a horrible first half of the season. I wasn't getting results. My fitness was not where it needed to be, and I was just feeling like, man, maybe my time is up. Maybe it's time for me to just be a weekend warrior and just do group rides or
No.
whatever. Yeah, but I didn't have no leg speed or intensity in my body.
Yeah.
Being that I work, I can't do these morning fast rides that happens when I'm at work. I start work at 6 o'clock typically, and so there was no Eldo because of the pandemic. So luckily, we're able to get Eldo back up and running. I think in July,
Yes.
and nationals was late August, if I'm not mistaken, or somewhere in August. So
Mhm.
yeah, we began to do Eldo, and Eldo, after 3 weeks of Eldo, I started feeling like, man, my legs came alive, my lungs became alive, everything just opened up. So when I went to the nationals, I had pretty fresh legs. Typically, we go into nationals in August or September, and we have done all these blocks of racing, and you go in
Right.
with all this work in your legs, and sometimes you're a little fatigued. So I felt extremely confident and strong going into nationals because I Laverne GP that happened out here.
Yes.
Um, it was like a 35 second split up the road of like 8 or 10 guys. And I missed the move, but I saw the move, and I solo bridged across to that move. And when I did that, I said, okay, my fitness is like on schedule. So I went in with the nationals with a lot of confidence because I had won that race and I was very aggressive in that race as well. So I was trying to duplicate some things that I would expect to happen in nationals. Even Eldo, I was bridging across to moves or attacking the field just to put my body to some of the tests that was going to be needed at nationals. Nationals started off very aggressive. Two guys went up the road and they put like 30 seconds on us. And they were up the road for like 30, 40 minutes. And I was limited because I was marked. I didn't have no teammates. I had one partner in the field, Tori, but he wasn't in my kit. But he was there to support me some. But still, it's just two of us trying to bring back a move like that, and me trying to go across. It was not going to happen. So I had to kind of use the Peloton as my team to help bring back that move. We didn't bring them back to like 4 or 5 laps to go. No, maybe 6 laps to go. And so at that moment, I was like, okay, just stay attentive and go with anything that looks dangerous. And everybody was, I guess, thinking those same thoughts because nothing else went away at that point. I shared a video on my Instagram of the last lap. I believe I was sitting like third wheel going into turn 1. I knew I was too far forward. And so if you look on the video, you can see I check up. I let maybe 3 guys come in. And so I end up being like 6th or 7th wheel. But I knew on that course, it's like 1.2 miles that we're going to lose 2 to 3 guys from the front. It's no way they're just going to sit on the front and just ride tempo for a full mile. So with experience, I knew what was going to happen. At least I thought in my head, I played what was going to happen in that moment. And that's what ended up happening. I told myself I wanted to be 3rd or 2nd wheel coming out of the last turn. And I was 3rd wheel coming out of the last turn. It's probably like 500 meters from the line, from the corner to the line. So it's a long way and it's a little wind. So I was just patient, man. And everything else just after that, your sprinting ability as a sprinter just kicks in. And I won pretty easy, more easy than I thought. I didn't even really celebrate too much. I just took one hand off the bar because I wasn't sure of my gap from the back. So yeah, that's how nationals kind of played out in a nutshell. Not to be too long-winded on the whole race.
No, honestly, that was great. I did see that the last few laps on Instagram, and I was like, ooh, it looked good. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're kind of getting towards the end here. What piece of advice would you give your younger self?
Listen to your heart. As younger people, we have all these people in our ear telling us what we should do, how we should do it, why we should do it, when we should do it. And sometimes we take those advices from all these different people or places, and we end up not accomplishing anything, right? My last few years of my life, I've been doing things that are heart-based. You know, what is my heart saying? What is my intuition saying? Typically, our heart and our intuition speaks to us, and we need to listen to those small voices inside of us. Sometimes they're like GPS system that's already built in us or that was given from us at birth, and sometimes we don't listen to them when we should be listening to them. I'm a believer in if you have a good heart, you're doing things from a pure place. At the end of the day, you're going to be taken care of. The results are going to come out in your favor. So, like I guess I could use your brother for an example, Alma, right?
My boy.
He decided to go to where's that?
Milligan? He's in Milligan. Yeah, he's in.
Okay, he's at Milligan College, right? He was here racing. He's still on Legion, but he was here racing, and he kind of took a break from school, right? I think he took a break from school.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Maybe
okay, he took a break from school. Mm-hmm. Okay, and he felt like there was probably a void in his life, and he probably was thinking and pondering like, man, I should go back to school. His offer was presented to him. I'm sure he thought about it for a minute. He said, it makes sense.
Yeah.
He listened to his heart. He felt comfortable with the decision. you live with it. The same with you, right? You were offered a spot to, hey, you want to race full time with Legion? Uh, I don't know if I want to race full time. I still enjoy racing riding, but I also want to pursue my professional career, right? I'm sure you thought about it. You probably bounced some ideas off your mom, and at the end of the day, you was like, "This what feels best to me." Working, training, working with my athletes, I feel more whole and more complete, right?
Yes.
Um, and so I'm a believer in that. I mean, some people aren't going to agree with it because they want you to go chase the dream. They want you to race your bike full time. They say, man, you could be in Europe. You could be one of the top domestic guys or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, it's what makes Charon happy, what makes Ime happy. And then that's how you're going to flourish the best in this life we've been given. So I would tell my younger self, listen to your heart, make moves that are heart based. Um, Listen to your small circle of friends, but at the end of the day, live with your decisions and be happy with them. We get one shot at life, just one. We don't get a chance to say, okay, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna do it over again, right? So if I'm gonna do it once, I'm gonna do it the way I want to do it, especially as I'm getting older and what feels best to me. It's not saying that you're selfish. Are you self-centered? It's like, hey, happiness starts with you, and then you can expand and add more happiness into the world. But if you're not happy, then the person next to you is not going to be as happy as they could be because they're dealing with your BS or your frustrations in your personal life. So yeah, I would tell my younger self, listen to my heart.
Dude, that was the best advice.
That was deep, huh? I deserve an off. I'm gonna be like a preacher. I need offering after that, brother. Let the church say amen.
No, you know what? I love happiness starts with you. And I think that some people like it, you know, I've been told before it's like not good to be selfish. But I feel like
Mm-hmm.
as I've gotten a little older too, I was like, but I have to live with myself, you know, like
Yes.
I'm responsible for how I feel. And I think that advice just like hit that on the head. So no, you know what, Sharon, I know that I know how busy you are. Sharon will call me out of the blue sometimes and we
And I'll get a voicemail. Know that part.
you never get a
You'll hit
voicemail
that
from
button. I'll
me.
call you back. I'll text you back. I feel like, man, he hit that auto reply button. I'll text you back. It's like, man, hey, you good? I get that probably 60% of the time when I call you.
Yeah, it's probably because I'm on the phone or if I'm doing something, but I always know. I feel like I'm pretty good at that. I try.
You call back. You do, but I get that. Alma don't call back.
He's too famous now. Must be nice.
Well, college life.
College. Yeah, but yeah. So thank you for being on the show, Sharon. I will. Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, I'm always available for you. I'm 100%. If you call me, Ime, I'm gonna be like, "Yo, what up? I'm here." I'm not gonna hit that button, but it's all good. I understand.